5. Environment, climate, and weather. B2. Do you believe environmental problems have become more serious nowadays? Absolutely. Climate change, pollution, and extreme weather have become major global issues. Years ago, many people did not pay enough attention to environmental problems, but now the consequences are becoming impossible to ignore. Have you noticed climate changes where you live? Yes, definitely. In Murcia, summers are often extremely hot and dry. Temperatures sometimes remain uncomfortable even at night. In addition, long periods without rain can create water shortages and increase the risk of wildfires. Southern regions seem particularly affected by heat waves. Exactly. Scientists have warned for years that temperatures would rise if greenhouse gas emissions continued increasing. Unfortunately, many governments reacted too slowly. What about extreme weather events? They have become more frequent. Apart from heat waves, Spain occasionally experiences heavy floods and storms. Even regions with dry climates can suddenly receive massive amounts of rain in only a few hours. That sounds dangerous. It is. Some towns have been damaged severely by floods because drainage systems were not designed for such extreme conditions. Climate change affects not only temperatures, but also weather patterns in general. In your opinion, what is the main cause of pollution? There are several causes. Factories, transport, plastic waste, and excessive consumption all contribute to environmental damage. Air pollution from cars remains a huge issue in many cities. Murcia is not the worst city for pollution, though, is it? No. Compared to some industrial cities, the air quality here is relatively acceptable. However, traffic congestion still creates problems, especially during busy hours. If public transport were improved, more people might leave their cars at home. Sustainable transport should be encouraged, shouldn't it? Definitely. Cycling, electric transport, and efficient public systems could reduce emissions significantly. Unfortunately, many people still depend heavily on private vehicles. What do you think about recycling? Recycling is important, although sometimes people exaggerate its impact. It helps reduce waste, but it cannot solve environmental problems alone. Consumption habits also need to change. Do people recycle actively where you live? In general, yes. Separate containers for plastic, paper, and glass have been installed in many areas. Nevertheless, not everyone uses them properly. Some people simply throw everything into the same bin because they are too lazy or uninformed. Education probably plays a huge role here. Absolutely. Environmental awareness should be taught from childhood. If younger generations developed responsible habits earlier, the long-term results would be much better. Have you ever experienced a natural disaster personally? Fortunately, nothing catastrophic. However, I have seen severe storms and sudden flooding before. Those situations can become frightening because infrastructure is not always prepared for extreme conditions. Natural disasters seem more common nowadays. Yes, and media coverage makes them even more visible. Wildfires, hurricanes, earthquakes, and floods regularly appear in the news. Some scientists argue that certain disasters have intensified because of climate change. Do you believe ordinary people can really influence environmental problems? Individually, changes may seem small, but collective action matters. If millions of people reduced plastic usage, consumed less energy, or traveled more sustainably, the impact would become noticeable. Some people argue that governments and corporations are more responsible than individuals. That's also true. Large companies produce enormous amounts of pollution. Governments should introduce stricter environmental regulations and invest in renewable energy. Otherwise, progress will remain too slow. What renewable sources are suitable for Spain, in your opinion? Solar energy has huge potential, especially in regions such as Murcia, because there is plenty of sunshine throughout the year. Wind energy is also developing rapidly in some parts of the country. So are you optimistic about the future? To some extent. Technology and environmental awareness have improved significantly. More people now understand the importance of sustainability. However, if serious measures are not implemented quickly enough, environmental conditions could become much more difficult in the future. So what is the most important thing society should do now? In my opinion, balance is essential. Economic development should continue, but environmental protection cannot be ignored anymore. People, companies, and governments all need to cooperate because climate problems affect everyone, regardless of nationality or social status.